Okay. Okay. Let us settle in for the invocation and make a go of it. All right. So let's sit straight and tall. Reach down through the fingertips. Well, depending on the height you're sitting on, you can either press with the fingertips or reach down through those fingertips. Release at the roots of the thighs. See that you're not overly gripping the abdomen. Soften the throat. Let's take the arms up and out to the side. Spread from the center chest out beyond those fingertips and really lift up through the chest, lift up from the bottom sternum to the top sternum, and then also spread from the mid body out beyond those fingertips. So you can tune into and cultivate a sense of both vertical extension and horizontal expansion. And keep the palms down low on the sternum. Fold your palms, seal the gaps between your palms and fingers. Upper arms down, shoulders down, close your eyes, top to bottom, go in. And be with your physical presence, your embodiment. Keep the attention of your mind lightly held on the breath, around the breath. Be with the in-breath, be with the out-breath. Om. Yogena chitasya padena vacham malam sharirasya chavaijakena yopa karotam pravuram muninam patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi abahu prushakaram shankha chakra siddharinam Sahasra Shirsam Shvetam Pranamami Patanjalim Hari Om. Allow the inhale to spread, expand, uplift the upper chest, illuminate even that upper chest, that heart center from the inside out. And then exhale, bow your head. Surrender the head to the heart. Release your hands to your thighs, palms facing up. And raise your head and open those eyes. All right, you are welcome to unmute. Oh, looks like we have Huda joining us this morning. Very good. Huda is in Phoenix. Where did she go? Where did she go? Oh, she just disappeared. Oh no. Okay. Well, hopefully, maybe she's having internet issues. Hopefully she'll find her way back. Okay. All right. So what I'd like to do today is actually really just get moving more and have this be more experiential. I know I've shared some words in the last couple classes about courage from a more philosophical, maybe psychological perspective, but I'd like this to be more focused on just getting in there and moving, because obviously that is what we are called to do in yoga. So yes, the philosophy is important, a philosophical understanding, certainly when emotions like fear or anxiety come up, obviously being present with those emotions, being present with what's happening, but then also we're called to do something about it, right? So actually, I really loved what Gita Beshgard sort of spoke on this topic in one of the classes I took with her. Not necessarily about fear in particular, but just that, like, let's say you're teaching a class or you're practicing and you're in Shirshasana or somebody's in Shirshasana and they're like horribly crooked, right? So you wouldn't just say to them, okay, and we all have little crookedities, right? But somebody's really off. Like you wouldn't just say to them, okay, just hang out in there for a while, feel it. You would say, calm down, let's fix this. We're doing something about it, right? So similarly, when we kind of get stressed or overwhelmed, we may go into fight mode, we may go into flight mode, we may go into freeze. Now they've added fawn to the list. And when you get sort of stuck in that way, one way to deal with that is not just to, yes, certainly observe the emotions, observe the reaction, perhaps go deep into that, understand what it is, but then take an action to get out of it. So that is what we are doing today. We are moving today. So we're going to work on the Supta Padangustasana series to begin with. No, have a bolster handy. Let's have a belt, have room around you, and just have a bolster handy. And then let's begin with the knees bent, the feet flat on the floor. Don't take the belt right away. Just have that ready. And actually, I'm going to change one thing here on my screen. There we go. Okay. So lie down, knees bent, feet flat on the floor. And take your hands, palms down a few inches away from your hips, so down alongside your hips. Open your palms, open your fingers, press your palms into the mat, and then roll your upper arms from inside out, like we do in Chatushpadasana, like we do in shoulder stand. Press into your palms, roll those upper arms from inside out, and take the outer corners of the shoulders down. And then, of course, notice the resulting action in the shoulder blades and in the chest area. So we take an action and observe the effects. Press into your heels, lift your hips up just a few inches off the floor, and then slowly lower down, lengthen out the low back, take the back of the top buttock to the back of the knee as you lower down. Let the sacrum rest. And then one more time, press your palms into the mat, spread your fingers, press your palms into the mat, roll your upper arms from inside out, get onto the outer corners of the shoulder blades. And then again, press into your heels, lift your hips up, slowly lower down, take the top buttock to the back of the knees. Keep the low back long. Throat soft, abdomen soft. All right, take your belt now, take your strap now, and let's go for Supta Padangustasana on the right leg. So first extend the right leg, keep the left leg bent on the floor, extend that right leg up to the ceiling. As you exhale, tighten the right kneecap, open up the backs of the knees, and relax your toes. So don't do this with your toes. Quadriceps firm, kneecaps tight, toes and jaw soft. And then keep that elongation, that length of the low back, and slowly slide the left heel out on the floor. And elongate from the inner groin to the inner heel. Also, I know, Sherry, that you took the class with Gloria the other day. So she kind of hammered in again and again. You take the bone side of the quadricep to the knee. So yes, we do lift the kneecap, but go down deep in the quadricep muscles to the bone side of the quadricep and take that bone side of the quadricep to the knee and then see what happens. All right, let's keep the leg at 90 degrees. Now just working with a little bit of movement here. Take the belt in the right hand, plant that left buttock down, left hip down, and then slowly take the right leg to the side. And just explore that lateral extension of the right leg. Keep the left hip down, take the right leg to the right. You can even tip a little bit over to that point where maybe that left buttock comes up. So sometimes, we need to explore our limits to find our limits, right? So go ahead and let that left hip come up. And then bring that right leg up to where you can plant that left buttock down. And then bring that leg up to 90 degrees. And let's do that again. So to find our sense of balance, sometimes we have to go a little bit out of balance. Keep that left hip down, take the right leg to the right. And then let yourself go to that point where the left hip comes up off the floor, where you've gone too far. And bring that leg up, plant the left buttock down, and then inhale, bring that right leg up. Keep the right side of the sacrum down, right hip crease down, take the belt in the left hand, and then cross that right leg over to the left. Just go a little bit. Notice the reaction, the sensation on the outer leg when you just go a few inches over to the left. And then bring the leg back to 90 degrees. And then again, cross that right leg over to the left. Perhaps explore going a little further this time. Keep that right side of the sacrum down. Retighten the knee. And then come back to the 90 degrees. And then once again, keep that left hip down. This time, plant that left hip down. Don't let it come up. You can even take your hand, put it alongside that left buttock. So you can know that that left buttock is down, left hip is down. And then now take that right leg to the right any amount and ensure that that left buttock stays on the floor. So how far can you go keeping that anchor of the left buttock down? And inhale, bring the leg up. And then let's change over. Remove the belt, slide the right leg down to meet the left leg, and then extend the left leg up, Supta Padangusthasana 1. Elongate both legs, inner groin to inner heel, outer heel to outer hip. As you exhale, tighten the knees, open out the backs of the knees. Relax the toes, jaw. Relax across the forehead. Take the belt in the left hand. Put your right hand down alongside your, over on the right side. It can be several inches from your body. So just put that right hand down on the floor, right palm facing down, tighten the knees, and then take that left leg over to the left. First, work to keep the right hip down, take the left leg to the left, and then let yourself go a little bit past your limits there. Just explore what that zone is, right? So this is a relatively safe way to explore going past our limits. Go ahead and take that left leg down until the right hip, that right buttock pops up. You might note that that tipping point is a little bit different right side versus left side. And then back it up, plant that right buttock down, and then go again. So just exploring what's that edge, what's that tipping point. Even let yourself go over it and then back off to that zone where you do have control, where that right buttock is down. So, there's safe ways to explore going out of balance, right? All right, and then bring that leg back up to 90 degrees. Take the belt in the right hand. Keep the left side of the sacrum down, left hip crease down, and then cross that left leg just a little bit over to the right until you get that sensation in the left outer leg. So we're crossing the leg over the midline, and then bring it back to 90 degrees. And again, cross that left leg just a little bit over the right, tighten the knee, keep the left hip down. All right, leg back to 90 degrees. Now put your right hand just alongside that right buttock to ensure it stays down. And then take the left leg to the left, any amount, and be insistent that your right buttock, right hip stays on the floor this time. So how far can you go? What's your limit now, keeping that right buttock anchored? A long time ago, I had an Iyengar yoga teacher say that, when people stretch, it's all about where they're going to. But in yoga, it's not just about where you're going to, it's about where you're coming from. So what stays in Tadasana, what moves away from Tadasana? Inhale, bring that left leg up. And then remove the belt, slide the left leg down to meet the right leg. Take a moment, Supta Tadasana. Open your palms, press your palms down into the floor, have the hands a few inches from your body, and then roll those shoulders from inside out. What happens to the shoulder blades? What happens to the chest, to the heart region? What are the resulting effects? What's the ripple out effect? Okay, we're going to work on the bent-legged variation of Supta Padangusthasana 1. So there's the variation where we bend the leg and take that leg behind us. So we're going to do this with the help of a bolster here. So let's grab the bolster. And here we go. Okay, so we're going to give ourselves a little bit of a head start, a little bit of a lift in this pose. So let's do this. Okay. Lie down with your back ribs, so the middle to upper back, not the lumbar spine, but the middle to upper back on the bolster. We'll do this together. Middle to upper back on the bolster. And then extend the left leg out, have that right leg bent. You're going to keep the chin slightly tucked to the chest here, so don't let the head be thrown back. And then have your belt handy. Okay, now bend up the right leg, take the belt around the right foot, and then hold the belt in the right hand. Go ahead and just take your left hand to your thigh for a moment. So left hand to the frontal thigh, lengthen out through that left inner leg. All right, now bend that right leg out to the side like a Padmasana leg. You can hold on to the outer edge of that right foot, keep the foot flexed, take that knee out to the side, thigh away from the face, and then you'll loop the arm behind the head. Again, take that right thigh away from the face. Maybe you can walk the hand up the belt. Maybe you can even hold your big toe. You can use that left hand to guide the leg, re-straighten the left leg, take the right thigh away from the face, keep the foot flexed, and then can you even look up and look back? Re-extend the left leg, look up, look back, look up to the ceiling, and let your head rest in the arm like a hammock. Maybe you can even let go with that left hand and just put the left hand on the left thigh. And stay with it for a moment. So this is the time to just kind of hang out there, feel, be with it for a moment, right? So we want to, yes, touch and go practice is good, but sometimes we need to work on maintaining, sustaining, just being there. Nice. Okay, let's go ahead and extend that right leg up like a Supta Padangusthasana 1 with straight leg, and then change sides. Slide the right leg to meet the left leg. Keep that right leg straight, bend up the left leg, take the belt around the left foot. Take that left thigh out to the side, flex that left foot, hold the left outer edge of the foot with the right hand, and then loop that left arm behind the head. Keep that left thigh moving away from the face. See to it that you don't, how can I say, tighten that angle between the upper leg and the lower leg. So that should be, it's approximately a 90-degree angle. And then see, can you walk up that belt a little bit, get closer to the foot, maybe even grab the big toe. Continue to reach and extend out through that right leg. Tighten the right inner knee. Let the weight of your head rest in your arm, like resting in a hammock. And look up, look back. Take that left thigh away from you. Take your right hand down to your right thigh. Don't forget to breathe. Relax your abdomen. Yes, this is an abdominal pose in a way. The abdomen might be contracted, but can you relax within that contraction? Can we find the expansion within the compactness? This will be a theme we come back to today. Where is the sense of expansiveness even in a more centralized or compacted pose? Okay, extend that leg up. Tighten the knee, open out the back of the knee. Remove the belt, and then let's repeat without the bolster now. So we'll repeat that same pose without the bolster. And can you take it one, what's your next step here, right? So maybe you can, maintaining all the correct actions, can you walk that hand a little closer towards the foot? I'm not saying do that at any cost, right? We don't do it any cost in yoga, but what are your next steps? Can we take this one step further? Okay, left leg straight, take the belt around the right foot. Hold that belt in the right with the right hand. Take the left hand to the thigh, just not to confuse. And then take that right thigh away from your face. Now, careful not to close off the angle between the upper leg and the lower leg. So this should be at approximately a 90-degree angle. So you move from the hip. You move that thigh away from the face. And then lift your head up. Loop the arm around the head. Now here you can use your left hand to guide your right leg. Keep reaching out through that down leg. And then as you are able, as the body allows, you can lift your head, walk the hand closer up the belt, keep reaching out through that left leg, take that right thigh away from the face, and then look up, look back. So look up to the ceiling, look up to the eyebrows. Okay, good. Let's extend the leg out to the side. Supta Padangusthasana 2. And then bend the knee, release the right leg, slide the right leg to meet the left, and then the left side. And when you put that right leg down, notice that feeling. Notice what changes, what length comes on that right leg. So something changed there. It did for me at least. So see if that's true for you. Take the left leg up. Supta Padangusthasana 1. Bend that left leg. Take the left thigh away from the face. So we want this movement to come from the hip, not the knee. Hold the belt in the left hand. Take the left outer edge of the foot with the right hand, and then loop that left arm behind the head. Reach out through that right leg, tighten the right inner knee. Take the left thigh away from the face, and then let the weight of your head rest in your arm. Look up to the eyebrows. Yeah, and then using that right hand as a guide, take that left thigh, left knee away from the face. Can you walk that hand maybe a little closer to the foot? Maybe you can even hold the foot. And for now, you can even let that right foot pop up off the floor as long as that right leg stays straight. So we don't want a bent right leg like this. But if that right leg stays straight, you can let it come up off the floor. All right, take that leg out to the side, Supta Padangusthasana 2. Extend both legs, inner groin to inner heel to outer hip. Roll that right hip down. Let the abdomen lengthen, widen horizontally, and then bring that leg up, Supta Padangusthasana 1. Slide the left leg down to meet the right leg. Take a moment, adjust yourself, Supta Tadasana, legs together, extend inner groin to inner heel. Palms down, spread your palms, spread your fingers, take your hands several inches from your hips, and then once again, roll those upper arms from inside out. What happens to your shoulder blade? What happens to your upper chest? All right, let's go ahead and bend the knees, roll over to the side and come on out. And let's just take a downward dog for good measure here. So we do downward dog pretty much every practice. It's an important pose. So much is contained within downward dog. So go ahead and take your downward dog. And just come into the pose when you're ready. All right, now I will share here just a little tidbit. I've been going over some different readings on the topic of courage. This is a little tidbit here from Light on Yoga. It's actually on the topic of violence, but he addresses fear too, BKS Iyengar. Violence arises out of fear, weakness, ignorance, or restlessness. To curb it, what is most needed is freedom from fear. So to gain this freedom, what is required is a change of outlook on life and reorientation of the mind. So change of outlook on life, reorientation of the mind to overcome fear. And isn't that what we're doing in yoga, right? By even changing the orientation of our bodies in space, what is the mental effect? All right, let us walk the hands to the feet. Let's come up Tadasana, and then we're going to work on Malasana. So the way I'd like to do this first is we're going to take a chair. Actually, if you have wall ropes, you can just use the ropes. But I know, let me grab my chair. I know a lot of people don't have the rope. So I'll show it the chair. And then of course, if you have ropes, you actually have an advantage here. So you can take a chair or really, you may be able to improvise something even better in your home too, if you don't have wall ropes. But let us take that chair or the ropes. And then what you'll do is you'll take the feet together. And then using that reach into the ropes or the holding of the chair, you're going to reach forward, sit back, feet together, inner heels down, and let those knees widen out to the side. So it may take a little bit of trial and error if you're using the chair. It's easier with the ropes, but if you're using the chair, it may take a little trial and error to get that right distance from the chair. And then you're reaching, using the chair, using the ropes to counterbalance. Good. And feet together, knees apart, keep the inner edges of the feet together. Allow the buttocks to descend, the lower back to lengthen without sitting down. So you don't want to sit down here, but let that buttocks drop. All right, let's stand up, repeat. So now that you have a sense of that distance, let's go again. Feet together, inner heels together. The ankles will separate. The inner heels stay together. The inner border of the big toes stay together, but the ankles will separate. And then reach those arms forward. Yeah, so this is a wonderful pose, actually. It can be a wonderful pose for a backache. All right, and then press into your heels to stand up. So that takes some strength in the outer hips. Okay, now let's come at this slightly differently. So have room lengthwise, and now we're going to work with momentum to come into the pose. So we'll do this little rock and roll. You're gonna lie on your back, and then like this, little rock and roll. And then from here, can you reach forward and find that just right spot where you land in Malasana? All right, so you can jump in here when you're ready. If this is not for you for any reason, you can repeat how we just did. But notice, that's it, yeah. But notice how working with momentum can allow you a different kind of access to the pose. So can you, now reach forward between your thighs so you come into Malasana. So here, like this. So reach between the legs. That's it. Can you press in those heels and roll up into Malasana? I don't know, maybe you have a little more space in front of you, Sherry, I'm not sure. I'm getting the sense that maybe a little more room in front of you. So see how I'm reaching up and it's like I land in Malasana. Yeah. I know, it's kind of funny. All right.
I always find, Greta, that's a lot of, maybe I'm using the wrong action, stress on my inner groin. So it kind of keeps me from doing it because I'm worried I'll do something weird.
Okay.
That's
yeah. Okay. Okay. Got it. Yeah. 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 I mean, certainly be careful with injury. I think you will find, though, let's see. There is a little bit of inner groin engagement for sure. Yeah. But, a lot of that momentum, and don't overdo if you're dealing with injury, but a lot of that momentum actually comes from the outer, it's the engagement of the outer hips. Yeah. Yeah. But, that's something to work with over time. So obviously, if you're in the midst of dealing with an injury, that's not the time to push it. Okay. Anyway. So, but, just to the point that sometimes when we feel sort of stuck in a pose, like I used to think that my Achilles and my calves were just too short to put the heels down in Malasana. I thought, okay, it's just not going to come. The calves and the Achilles are too short. But, just having that, that reorientation of the mind, right? Can you do the pose in water? Can you use momentum to come into the pose? That just taking that, different approach can kind of help us break through that sort of perceived like, oh, this is my limit, right? Same time, obviously respect the limits of the body if it's there. Okay, let's actually do a little bit of I'd like to do a little bit of standing work. So let's come up to Tadasana and then have 2 bricks handy. And of course, there are lots of ways to approach poses through movement, through experimenting with momentum. There are many ways to go after that. Well, let's be in Tadasana. Just have the 2 bricks handy. We're not going to use them right away. And stand straight and tall in Tadasana. Open the soles of the feet. Reach your hands down. Lift up from the outer hips up into the armpit chest. So keep the soles of the feet spread. As Abhijata would say, the carpet of the feet. Keep the carpets of the feet spread. Take the outer ankles in, outer shins in. Lift up from the side waist up into the armpit chest. Spread the collarbones. And look forward from the outer corners of the eyes. So rather than the inner corners of the eyes, look forward from the outer corners of the eyes. And notice what's the mental effect. All right, we're going to move between Vrikshasana and Garudasana. If you can do in the middle of the room, do it. If you need to be near a wall, no problem, just take the wall. Take the right leg up. Let's hold on to that right inner knee. Take that leg out to the side. Extend from the inner groin to the inner heel. And then hold that right ankle. Keep that lateral opening of the right inner groin to inner knee. Take the inner knee to outer knee. Take the right foot on the inner upper left thigh. Straighten the standing leg. Outer hips in. Vrikshasana. Upper back in, chest up. Throat soft, eyes forward. All right, release that right leg, slightly bend the standing leg. Now you're going to swing that right leg over and really cross at the top of the thigh. So it's not down here. That's actually makes the pose almost unattainable. But you're going to cross that leg over at the roots of the thighs, hook the toes if possible, and then the leg that's on top, that arm goes on the bottom. Keep the upper arms off the chest, upper arms parallel to the floor, draw the shoulders down, widen across the upper back. And then back to Vrikshasana, hold the inner knee, take that leg out to the side, get that sense of horizontal expansion, lateral opening, inner groin to inner knee, and then place the foot in place. And then this time, let's take the arms up, tighten the elbows, extend the whole side waist. Lift the arms from the back ribs, tighten the standing kneecap, and then tighten the elbows. Bring the arms together any amount, keeping the elbows straight. Look forward even slightly up. Keep that ascension of the side waist, of the spine, of the torso, and then take the arms down, take the legs down, Tadasana. Changing sides, stand straight and tall. Hold on to the left inner knee. Extend from the inner groin to the inner knee. Place that left foot in place on the right inner upper thigh. Press the outer heel more than the inner heel. Watch the resulting effect. What is the ripple out effect? And then again, let's reach those arms up. Lift the standing leg, thigh, and kneecap. Tighten the elbows. Where are you reaching the arms from? How deeply can you trace that action of reaching the arms? Tighten the elbows, lengthen the side waist, take the back ribs in and up, and then keep those elbows straight. Take the hands together any amount. Eyes forward, even eyes slightly up. Keep reaching up as you take the legs down. Did we skip Garudasana? Let's take that left leg over Garudasana. Okay. Garudasana. That's fine. The leg that's on top, that arm goes on the bottom. So if the left leg is on top, the left arm is on the bottom, chest up, extend the fingertips up to the ceiling. And then let's quickly pass through that Vrikshasana again. Press the outer heel more than the inner heel. Take the back body to the front body to lift the chest. So in the other classes, we've talked a bit about the importance of that heart center, the wisdom of the heart. So what is the, how do we physically connect, with that wisdom of the heart, with that heart center? What's the somatic connection? Tadasana. Okay, 2 blocks. You can stand at a wall for this, or you can give it a go in the middle of the room. So, decide what is the smart thing for you. We're going to stand on the 2 blocks. I'll just show if you're doing it at the wall, you can still keep a hand near the wall, and then we'll be taking the right leg up, Vrikshasana. You're also welcome to do this in the middle of the room if you feel secure in your balance, or feel like at least if you fall out of the pose, you can manage. All right, so standing on a block, and we're taking 2 blocks just so that we can alternate between the right foot and left foot. That's it. So stand on the block, Vrikshasana. Fold the palms at the chest, outer hips in. And what opportunity does the block provide? So what's the overall sense of being in this pose, standing on the block? Garudasana. Swing that right thigh over the left, cross at the top of the groin, the top of the thigh, Garudasana. I'm trying to say a little less here so you can observe your experience, the effects of your embodiment, your mental outlook in the pose. Back to Vrikshasana. Look for the areas of unnecessary tension, gripping, hanging on. You know, sometimes when fear comes in, we start to grip in places unnecessarily. Can you release there? All right, now just for kicks, if you'd like to give Utthita Parshva Hasta Padangusthasana a go from here, you can do that. Again, extend inner groin to inner heel, that right leg, outer heel to outer hip. Take that leg back. So we don't want the leg forward like this. We want that leg back. And then reach to the big toe mound to elongate the arm too. All right, carefully place that leg down. You can stand with those feet a little bit apart since we're on the blocks. Evenly stand on the blocks. Take a moment, pause in Tadasana. And then second side, Vrikshasana. So how does being up on a little additional height change your experience in the pose? How does this change your mental outlook? Garudasana. Don't look down. Once you hook the leg in Garudasana, see if you can slightly straighten the legs. This will engage the outer hips, and this engagement of the outer hips is an important action. Vrikshasana. Outer hips in. Back body to front body to lift and extend the chest, that heart center vertically. And then you can, why not, explore Utthita Parshva Hasta Padangusthasana. Reach to the big toe mound to lengthen that left arm out. Horizontal expansion. Tadasana. All right, one more time, step down onto the mat. Now, that experience that standing on the blocks provided, can we somehow find that within ourselves and replicate that experience without the blocks? Can you find that same sense of upliftment now standing on the floor? Vrikshasana. Garudasana. Utthita Parshva Hasta Padangusthasana. You can hold the big toe or the outer foot. Both legs straight. Nice. Tadasana. Vrikshasana, second side, left side. Vrikshasana. Hips forward, inner knee back. How would you do this if you were standing on a block? What if you were standing on the edge of a stage? I don't know if I want to say edge of a cliff, but I guess I said it, right? How would that change the experience? What more attention, mindfulness would you bring to the moment? Garudasana. Utthita Parshva Hasta Padangusthasana. And Tadasana. All right. Have room for Ardha Chandrasana. We're going to move between Uttita Konasana and Ardha Chandrasana. So just have room. We're going to step in and out a couple of times, so make sure you have room to your right side. Use blocks as needed. Jump or step the feet wide. Turn the right thigh out. Bend the right leg, Uttita Konasana. Let's go ahead and take that left arm up and over initially to get that length on the side waist. Roll the thighs inside out. Turn the waist up to the ceiling. Take that top arm up, step in, Ardha Chandrasana. Bear weight on that right arm. Try to keep the eyes forward. Eyes forward, turn the collarbones up to the ceiling. Bend the standing leg, pause. Shoot that back leg back, land Uttita Konasana. We can keep the top arm up. All right, step the back leg in, take the right hand forward, keep the right leg bent, bear weight on that right arm. Yeah, slow it down a little bit, that process of coming up. So back up to this point here, back up here. So the back foot's down, right leg is bent. Keep the standing leg bent. Take weight on that right arm, lift the back leg up, hip height, and then straighten that standing leg. Lift up from the right inner heel to inner groin, turn the collarbones up to the ceiling. Bend that right leg, extend the left leg back, Uttita Konasana. Let's do 2 more times. Maintain the actions a little faster. Spin the thighs inside out. Try to keep those eyes forward. Step up, Ardha Chandrasana. Roll the collarbones up to the ceiling, Uttita Konasana. Ardha Chandrasana. Get that back leg up and then straighten the standing leg. Yeah, that's it. Then straighten that standing leg. Extend the standing leg, inner heel to inner groin. Turn the collarbones up to the ceiling. Open that left hip up to the ceiling. Draw the right buttock to the left heel. And let's land in Uttita Trikonasana this time. Triangle pose. Watch the exit. Inhale, press in the heels, come up, change sides. Jump or step wide. Uttita Konasana to the left. Go ahead and go. So come on in. Uttita Konasana to the left. And then step up, Ardha Chandrasana. So watch that's it. Try not to look down. Look forward. That's it. Get that back leg up to hip height. And then straighten the standing leg by extending the inner heel to the inner groin. All right, bend the standing leg. Shoot that back leg back, land Uttita Konasana. Spin the thighs inside out. Beautiful length on the side waist there. And then step up, Ardha Chandrasana. So watch the entrance, watch the exit. Be with yourself, coming in, coming out. Get that standing leg straight. Turn the collarbones up to the ceiling. Uttita Konasana. Good. And then let's do 2 more. Little faster. You can even take the top hand to the hip too. You know, that's not the thing so much. So once you arrive in Ardha Chandrasana, just take a breath or 2. Come back, Uttita Konasana. Spin the thighs inside out. Turn the waist up to the ceiling. And then step up again. Ardha Chandrasana. Uttita Konasana. And inhale, press into the heels. Come on up, come on out. Let's keep those legs wide. Let's take Prasarita Padottanasana in preparation for Shirshasana. Legs wide, hands on the hips. Inhale, lift up that armpit chest. Let's go ahead and look down the chest, lift that armpit chest, get that sternum chest to lift up to the ceiling, and then let the head go up. Let the sternum chest see the ceiling. Concave spine, bring your torso to be parallel with the floor. Take your hands underneath the shoulders. See that the kneecaps are tight, outer heels down. We can go back to that action too of extending the bony side of the quadricep, that inner quadricep to the knee, and then bend the elbows, walk the hands back, come into Prasarita Padottanasana 1. Press through the palms, the circumference of the palms, draw up through the forearms. Watch the ripple out, the resulting effect in the shoulder blade area. And let the skin of the back of the skull drip to the floor. Relax your abdomen. So legs firm, abdomen soft, jaw soft. Don't be holding any tension at the base of the skull. All right, with straight legs come up. And then we'll take Shirshasana. We're just doing Shirshasana 1 today, classical pose. It's not a long hold, but it's an important pose. So I want us to at least touch on it. You can be at the wall or in the middle of the room. Actually, no, we'll take a go at Parshva Shirshasana too. Might as well. It's a good one. It will help us with what we're doing. But yeah, just straight Shirshasana, Parshva Shirshasana. Losing my balance there. And you can be at the wall or in the middle of the room. Now, when you come up into the pose, we worked on this a bit lately. Don't put your head down right away. So I'll show from the side. So you are going to place your arms, obviously for Shirshasana 1. Press the outer wrist, press the center forearms down. Keep your head. So, take your time to set your foundation of the pose to get things correctly lined up here. And then keep your head off the floor, hips up high. Walk in, head off the floor, head off the floor. So your shoulders and shoulder blades have to lift. Lightly place your head down. Those hips come way up high. And then from there, you can come up with bent legs or straight legs. So don't put the head down right away. It's good training for us to learn to really lift our shoulders, to engage the middle upper back in Shirshasana so that we don't end up with neck aches in Shirshasana. And then, of course, press the outer wrist, press the center forearms, straighten the legs, tailbone in. Abdomen soft. Okay. Yeah. All right, we will be in the straight pose just a couple of minutes. So yeah, it looks like it's a little hard to tell just with the angle of the camera, I think, Sherry, but it looks like you're twisting a little bit to your left. Yeah, and it could be camera angle. Yeah. And then bring your feet forward a little bit. Yeah, and even separate the feet and then take the tailbone in and up, extend the inner legs and lift up from the outer hip to the outer heel. Try to do less with the inner groins, lift up from the outer hip to the outer heel to bring the feet together. You know what? Sorry, I said that backwards. You were twisting to your right, but it looks better now. It does look better. Yeah, and press those outer wrists. So we're in the middle of the room, so I'm not going to say lift your head off the floor unless you feel very comfortable. And if you fall out, no big deal. But could you get that feeling like what if you were to lift the head off the floor? So even do the actions as if to lift the head off the floor, as if you could lift your head off the floor a few inches and see what happens. So where do you have to press? Where do you have to lift if you were going to lift your head off the floor in Shirshasana? I'm going to join you for Shirshasana. We'll do just one variation today. And again, if you were to lift the head off of the floor in Shirshasana, where would you need to press? Where would you need to lift? Okay, Parshva Shirshasana. Press the center forearms equally. Keep the legs glued together. Lift up from the navel to the feet. And then from the navel to the feet, turn to the right. So move those legs all as one unit. Cut that left hip around. Move the right hip back. And then watch what happens with that right arm. Don't let the right shoulder collapse. Bring that right outer arm, right outer deltoid forward. Turn from the navel to the feet to the right. Exhale to turn. Get the hips to move. Come back to center. Readjust. Shirshasana. Equally press the forearms. Keep the legs together, outer hips in. And then from the navel to the feet, turn to the left. Cut that right hip to the left. Move the left thigh back. And then don't let that left arm collapse. So bring that left upper outer arm deltoid forward. As you exhale, can you turn the hips that little bit more to the left? Back to Shirshasana. Readjust straight Shirshasana. And one more time, Parshva Shirshasana. Keep the legs together. Turn the hips to the right. Cut that left outer thigh around to the right. Keep that right deltoid upper outer arm rotating forward and turn from the navel to the feet to the right. Outer hips in. Back to center. Inhale, exhale, press the wrist, press the forearms. Turn to the left, from the navel to the feet, turn to the left. Cut that right outer thigh around, draw that left thigh back. Bring that left deltoid, outer deltoid forward. Outer hips in, grip the outer hips in. Back to center, Shirshasana. Balance on the back crown of the head in Shirshasana. Now, if you were to lift the head off the floor here, where would you have to press? Where would you have to lift? What would you have to engage? How light would you have to become to get that head to lift a few inches off the floor? Keep the hips high, keep the length of the side waist, prepare to come down and then come down. So can you keep the lightness as you come down, hips up, side waist tall. You can come down with bent legs or straight legs. Keep your head on the floor. Go directly to Adho Mukha Virasana, head down. Extend your arms forward, tighten the elbows, descend your hips, let your head rest. Look for the areas of tension. Can you release? Okay, let's come up. Let's take either a quick downward dog or a quick Adho Mukha Vrikshasana. So I want something to get some length, some way of getting length for your spine and neck. So either a quick downward dog or a quick 1 or 2 Adho Mukha Vrikshasana. And then we're going to come back to some work on the floor. Yeah, Sherry, go ahead. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? So everybody's always talking about this outer deltoid, inner deltoid. Can you just show me on your back where exactly that is?
So Shirshasana, inner deltoid. So we have the deltoid here. This is the deltoid, this cap muscle on the, good question, by the way, thanks for asking. And sometimes I even hate to use the names of muscles because I think sometimes it can just confuse us more, right? Because we don't really think in terms of, I don't know, scalenes and all this stuff, whatever it is, right? But deltoid is this cap muscle here on the shoulder. So if you're in Shirshasana, inner deltoid here, outer deltoid here. So if we're doing, if we're doing Parshva Shirshasana and we're twisting, what tends to happen is the shoulder kind of collapses. Yeah. So we want to keep bringing this around this way. This comes around this way. So if I'm twisting, oh gosh, I know this is like an interesting spatial thing, right? So if I'm twisting this way, right, this will tend to collapse. So we want to keep bringing this around. So it's standing up, I don't know how great this is, but something like that. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah. Because I was doing the opposite and I didn't understand inner and outer. And because I always think of the deltoids in the back of my back, not on my, like here. So that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay. Well, I'm glad you asked then. Yeah. Yeah. Glad you asked. The other way to say that is just don't let the shoulders or don't let the upper arms collapse, but it's, this rotation this way. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for asking. Okay, let us take a quick downward dog or Adho Mukha Vrikshasana. And then we're going to come back to some seated work and hopefully move into a little bit of arm balancing. So when you're ready, just come up, downward dog or Adho Mukha Vrikshasana. And with all of our practice over time, we want to begin to tune in to observe not just the mechanics of the pose. Yes, absolutely. The technique and the mechanics of the pose, doing correctly, it's vital, right? But what is that a gateway to? So what's the experience of the pose? How's the mental outlook, the breath, the psychology affected by the asana, by the sequence as a whole? What's the overall effect? Okay. Let us be now in Upavishta Konasana, and just have a kind of nearby, so you don't have to run and get it, 2 blocks, let's say 2 blocks and a bolster and a strap. Just have those things kind of, within reach. And let's set Upavishta Konasana. So we'll work with movement. We're going to come back to a little bit of work we did actually on the first class of this series, and then hopefully build upon that. Yeah, and of course with any of this, take any props you need. So sit up and modify as needed. So I'm just, I know you're all experienced students, so I assume you'll do that. Sit Upavishta Konasana. Take your hands behind you. Take the shoulder blades down the back. Press your heels down. Open out the backs of the knees. If you extend from the inner groin to inner heel, outer heel to outer hip. And then imagine also you had a seam down the back of the leg, the center back of the leg. Press that center back of the leg into the floor. All right, slide the right hand out, take the left arm up and over, lengthen the sideways, and think like Utthita Parshva Konasana arm. That's it. So turn the waist up to the ceiling, lengthen that left side waist, and then we'll go to the other side. Reach up and over, turn the waist to the ceiling, lengthen the top side waist, and then over to the right. And just back and forth like this. So sometimes we just have to move to break through those areas of stuckness. And the areas of stuckness, it can come from any number of things: fear, overwhelm, of course, illness, tiredness. Let's bring those legs a little closer together. But, we use movement, we use a rajasic quality to break through the inertia, whatever the cause, to break through that tamas, whatever the cause. And you can pick up the pace a little bit. Bring those feet a little closer together again. And then about hip width. And again, back and forth. Okay, now feet in between Dandasana and Upavishta Konasana. So think like Kurmasana legs. So have the heels down, the toes up, the feet wider than hip width, but certainly not as wide as Upavishta Konasana. And now this one, you'll take the arm on the inside of the leg, take the other hand to the hip, and then turn the waist up to the ceiling. Don't let your buttocks, don't let the sacrum twist. So keep those buttock bones on the same plane. Stay stable in your low body. And then that top shoulder draws back and you turn up to the ceiling. And then change sides. So with movement, stay a couple breaths. That top collarbone extend from the inner border of the collarbone to the outer, and then again back and forth. So a couple breaths and then move on to the other side. We're not staying long. So I mentioned this before, when we find poses that seem impossible or very daunting, one way to approach that is you look for similar poses that lead up, that have similar actions. And then also you can break down the movements, the actions to get into the pose and work with those actions with repetition, with movement. So you break down the pieces. What are those breadcrumbs along the way? And work there. Can you bring some movement? Can you bring some repetition? So you start to break through some of that perceived or real stuckness. All right, now next here, take that arm down. Now we want to get that close contact. So for arm balances, for Kurmasana, and where do we learn this, right? Uttita Parshva Konasana, getting that close contact of the torso and the leg is important. And then maybe you can take that arm underneath, maybe even take a bind, keep those buttock bones on the same plane, and then turn up to the ceiling. And then the other side. So this close contact, this compactness of the torso with the leg is important. And turn. And alternating sides. All right, and then next steps, slide one arm underneath. And then for now, let's just turn up to the ceiling this way. So how deeply can you get that shoulder underneath the knee? So this is important. You may need to bring the feet a little closer together. Work with heels down, toes up. So not toes down, heels down, toes up. Can you get that shoulder deeply underneath that knee? So this is important for Kurmasana. It's important for the arm balances. Hasta Bhujasana, one of the downfalls of that pose, right? Hasta Bhujasana. You need to get the leg up like this. So it's this close contact. It's like Kurmasana. When the leg falls down the arm, then we're stuck, right? All right, and then working with movement, alternate sides. Just work to get that arm underneath and then turning away from that, that leg that you have the arm underneath. So we're turning away and back and forth. A couple more times on each side. Okay, now next steps. You take one arm, heels down, toes up. You take the other arm, reach those arms out to the side, palms down, and then extend the inner heels to move towards Kurmasana. If you are feeling stuck here, or if you have a sacral pain, sitting on a bolster or two can be of immense benefit. So you would sit on the back of the bolster or bolsters. So like this can give a little more freedom. So oftentimes taking height can give us more freedom in a pose, gives us more space. Akasha, right? Space, ether. And then, there we go. And then slide those inner groins to inner heels forward. So don't let the legs go wide. In Tittibhasana, we don't want the legs like Upavishta Konasana legs. It's closer to like a Dandasana, like a hip width Dandasana. And roll the outer knee to the inner knee. So we don't want the feet spilling out. It's the outer knee to inner knee. So this rotation. Nice. Yeah. And then take the chin to the bolster, back body to front body. Okay, good. Let's come up. And then there are two sides to Kurmasana, right? So now we take the other arm underneath, whatever you led with, go with the other arm. So yeah, I hope you all got that in, like when we take Tittibhasana and Upavishta Konasana. So Tittibhasana, I'm going to show likely a very poor representation of this pose, but it's this arm balance, right? Where the legs extend forward. And in both of these poses, we want to work to keep the feet a little closer together, not to go so wide. So what's required in the hips to do that? We have to have strength in the hips to do that. And it's the outer knee to the inner knee, outer shins up, not this one. Okay, Kurmasana, let's take the other side. Outer knee to inner knee, outer shins up, extend through the inner heels. And you can see here the connection, I think, between Kurmasana and Tittibhasana. So if you want to learn to do Tittibhasana, what are the poses that feed into it? What are those similar actions? Can you thread those connections? All right, and then let's come on up. Okay, let's just take a moment, sit on the bolster, sit straight and tall, take the sacrum in, take the back body to the front body. All right, Marichyasana 1. We're going to repeat several times, working with the props in different ways. Let's start sitting on the floor. So sit flat on the floor, extend the legs out, Dandasana. All right, bend up the right leg, bring your body to your bent leg, so you're keeping the inner groin soft. Reach that right arm up, reach forward, keep both buttock bones down, lengthen the right side waist. Don't just think about going to the foot, but can you go beyond the foot? And then two options here, either you're holding the foot, take the left hand to the hip, turn to the left, or if you're able to hold the foot with ease, you can go for the bind. Both buttock bones down, draw that left shoulder back, left collarbone wide, turn to the left. So we're taking the twisting stage of Marichyasana 1. All right, release. Take the heels down, slide the buttocks back to straighten the legs. Hold behind the left knee, bring that leg up. Put the foot down, don't crank the shin. Oh yeah, don't hold the shin in. So let's do that again. Hold behind the knee, draw that leg in, put the foot down. So this is some of the stuff that Gloria is very insistent about, but part of it is because she's works with serious knee issues. So she has experience to share with us all. And then bring your torso to the heel. That keeps that inner groin soft. So that will be safer on your knee. Reach the left arm up, lengthen the left side waist, and then either you're working to hold the foot. From there, take the right hand to the hip, extend to the right, both buttock bones down, or you work on the bind, and we're twisting to the right. Draw that right shoulder back. Take the right inner border of the shoulder blade into the back. Spread from the center chest to the right shoulder. Okay, let's go ahead and release. Sit on a bolster. Now we can't, this time we won't be able to scoot our body to the foot, obviously, but still, let's hold behind the knee, lift that thigh up, draw that thigh into the chest. So again, this connection, this compactness of the torso to the thigh is an important action for our arm balances. And then put that foot down close to the bolster, reach the right arm up, reach forward. How does being up on the bolster change the experience of Marichyasana? And then from here, you can hold the foot and twist or intertwine. The intertwine might be harder because that thigh is down low, but we're going to change that in a moment. Turn to the left. So if it makes more sense for you to hold the foot and be more upright and turn from there, do it. Right inner heel down, left shoulder back. Release, change sides. Hold behind the left knee to draw that thigh up. Get that thigh in close, so don't crank the shin. Draw the thigh to the torso, and then put the foot down, right up in front of that bolster. Reach up through that left arm, lengthen the side waist, reach forward, and then either you're working to hold the foot, or you can work on the bind. Left inner heel down, left ball of the foot down, spread the circumference of the left foot on the floor, draw that right shoulder back. Right inner border of the shoulder blade on into the back. Extend from the center chest to that right shoulder. And come out. Okay. Have 2 blocks handy. Place 1 block for your right foot and put that right foot bent leg on the block. And we're repeating Bhujasana 1. So right foot on the bolster, on the block. Hold now at the top of the shin, and notice the relationship now between the torso and the bent leg. So by placing that foot up higher, how does this change the relationship between the bent leg and the torso? Reach that right arm up, Bhujasana 1, again, twisting action. So now you may find that that bind comes a little easier. Of course, here also you're welcome to grab a belt to help you complete the bind. I'm just assuming that you take the props as needed, and then draw that left shoulder back. Extend from the center chest to the left shoulder. Look out to the left, look up and behind you. Release, change sides. Place the block for the left foot, draw that thigh in, hold at the top of the shin, the head of the shin, just below the knee. Take the back body to the front body. What's that connection between the torso and the leg? Reach that left arm up, extend the side waist. You can work with the bind here. I think everybody work with the bind, those doing the recording. You can take a belt if you need to help yourself complete the pose, and then draw that right shoulder back, extend from the center chest to the right shoulder. Exhale to give the body the space and the permission to turn. Okay, release. All right, 1 more here. 2 blocks now. 2 blocks. And then put that right foot up on the 2 blocks. Yeah, now, yeah, good. Okay, now from here, press the right foot into the bolster, press your right foot into the blocks, press your hands into the bolster, and then can you lift your butt up off the bolster, navel to spine? Yeah, lift up and come down. So now we're ready to launch off into arm balances, right? So we're keeping that leg hugged into the chest, lift up and down. Let's do a couple more. Navel to spine, lift the buttocks up and down. Press into that right foot, navel to spine. Let your back round to do this. Don't try to keep a straight spine. Let's do 1 more. Press that right foot, press the hands, navel to spine, lift the butt up and down. Okay. Change sides. Put that left foot on the 2 blocks. Press your hands into the bolster. And then navel to spine, lift the hips up and down. And lift the hips up and down. And lift the hips up. Yeah, you can keep the straight leg on the floor for now. And 1 more time, lift up and down. Okay, let's go ahead and extend those legs forward. Let's actually just take a minute, extend the legs forward, interlace the fingers, reach the arms up. We're not done with this thread here, but let's give our abdomens, our abdominals, the chance to lengthen out, back ribs in and up. Okay, now where can we take this? We can take this in a number of directions. I'd like us to take this into Hasta Bhujasana. So from Bhujasana 1, the way we've been working, it's not such a stretch to go to Hasta Bhujasana, right? So you're going to take that right leg up, hold on to the foot, and then remember Kurmasana, we want to get that shoulder underneath the knee. So maybe a couple, in and out. You can work with a little movement here. Just take the shoulder over the knee over the shoulder. Yeah, just work with that a couple times. And then slide the right leg out, go to the left. Hold on to that left knee, draw the leg up. work to get the shoulder underneath that knee. So this is suppleness and strength in the hips. Remember our Kurmasana work, our Marichyasana 1 work we just worked with. What else helps with this? Uttita Parshvakonasana, Supta Padangusthasana, especially Supta Padangusthasana 1 with the bent leg. We worked on that. Okay, straighten out the left leg. Right leg up. I'm holding my calf. Work to get the shoulder. So hold your calf. Hold your right foot with your left hand. You can use your arms to guide you. That's it. Work to get that knee up around the shoulder. Now, we don't want the leg spilling down the arm, right? So like Kurmasana, outer knee to inner knee, outer knee to inner knee. And then from here, can you hold that leg in place from the strength of the hip? Place the hands on blocks. So outer knee to inner knee, outer shins up. So it's more of an internal rotation. Press the hands into the blocks, navel to spine, lift your butt up. Maybe you can take the foot up and be in Hasta Bhujasana, navel to spine. Yeah. So yes, there, and then come down. Yeah. So it's a little abdominal, yes, but maybe you see now how much of that is hip, right? So it's this, we don't want a Padmasana leg, although Padmasana will help. Padmasana will help these poses. We didn't work on it today because I can't do everything in 90 minutes, right? Padmasana will help these poses because it's going to teach that same strength and suppleness in the hip, right? But in many ways, it's not this rotation we want. It's actually coming around this way, this way, this way to hold that leg into place. So this one, like giving yourself a little hug with your leg. Okay, left side. Enough words. Let's do the left side. I'm going to say less. And there are stages, right? We have stages for everything. Now, I'm just going to, continue to work as needed for you, right? I'm just going to show, then you could start to work with this without the bolster. The blocks do help. Obviously, you can remove the blocks and work without props. That's a next step for sure. But you could also come to the floor and then work with hands on blocks. So I'm just giving some options here for next steps. Yeah, that's it. Outer knee to inner knee. So I'm feeling the rotators. It's like those muscles around my femur head. I'm feeling those working here to hold that leg into place. So Padmasana will help. Kurmasana will help. So it's, these muscles I'm feeling, it's not like I'm telling those muscles to contract really. It's just that I'm thinking, honestly, I'm thinking outer knee to inner knee. So rather than this, I'm thinking this action, and then that gets those rotator muscles to engage. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, that's the way. That's the way. Yeah,
I've never done that. I've never done that before.
All right. Yay, breaking through to new ground. I love that. I love that. Okay, one more piece here. Now there's a couple ways you can, well, I'm sure there's more than a couple ways you can approach this. So I'm just going to show a couple of options though. So you can keep the straight leg heel down and lift your butt up, right? And then get the foot to come up. Or you could take the straight leg up and then press in the palms, keep that straight leg up, and then can you get your butt to lift up, right? So there's this way, or there's this way, right? Or you could do the reverse. So, different entry points, right? There's more than one way into a room. Okay, now we can keep working with this. I just want to show, we're actually running out of time, but I just want to show, what may be next in our sequencing. We can then work on Hasta Bhujasana and Bhujapidasana. So I'm going to, just give you some next steps there that you can approach as you're ready. And so Hasta Bhujasana, it is easier with blocks. You can, of course, do any of these without blocks. So isn't this like our Kurmasana, right? Isn't this, this is our Kurmasana again. And then it's okay to bend the elbows initially. With the blocks there, you don't have so far down to go. But eventually we do want to work, and this is my work too, we do want to work to get those elbows straight for this pose, for Bhujasana. So feet together. And hopefully you can see the connection with our Kurmasana. And the soles of the feet are together. Yeah. Of course, you could always have a bolster behind you if you are, nervous about falling on your bum. Doesn't hurt to have some training wheels in the beginning, and then we can pull those away over time. And now I'm just going to show you one more for kicks here. So this is another way into the pose where you step forward, and then you take that time to wedge your shoulder underneath the knee, like our Kurmasana, right? And then you take weight, you sit back on those upper arms, look forward, outer shins up, outer knee to inner knee, navel to spine, let your back round. And then you work to straighten the elbows. And actually the feet extend forward for this one. In Bhujasana, they pull in. Okay, we'll give this a couple more minutes. We won't have much of a cool down today, but I think that's okay. Sometimes we just have to go for it when we've come this far, right? So taking our next steps requires courage, right? We don't have to jump off the cliff, but what's the next step? That's the way. And then outer knee to inner knee. So think Kurmasana, think Hasta Bhujasana. That's the way. Yeah. And then of course, how else can we work with these? We can always work with chairs too. These are other ways to work with these poses. Even like Tittibhasana. Let me see, I may need blocks. You're all fully capable of working with those folks doing the recording too, without a chair, but we can use props as teachers, or there are times when we're more limited, right? So we want to have ways in. So, even working with the chair, this is another way in. Let's see here. I haven't done this for a while, but I would want to get a little closer. But something along these lines, maybe putting the feet up on a couch would be better. But, we can work something along these lines too, right? Working to get that connection between the shoulder and the knee, the torso and the leg, even working one leg at a time, right? So taking those legs up, just another way in. I'm not saying you have to do that now, but it's always good to have multiple ways of approaching a pose. Okay, and then I'll just do the very last one here, and then we better wrap it up. We'll have like 5 minutes to wrap it up here. But our balances, once you get in the groove, they get pretty, they get fun. Okay, so then Bhujasana is with the ankles crossed, and you have to cross them in the air. So I'll show coming down this way. So again, I'll do the right, for me, my right first. So it's same. What's that connection between the torso and the leg? We want to get that intimate connection between the torso and the leg, the shoulder and the knee. And then you sit back, and in the air, one ankle, one foot scoops underneath the other, eyes forward, navel to spine, let your back round, straighten the elbows. And then you can change the cross. And then next steps here, you could work with that Tittibhasana. So don't let the legs splay out, outer knee to inner knee, outer shins up. Okay. Yeah, outer knee to inner knee. Okay, All right. Well, we could keep going and going with that. Maybe when you go back and do the recording, you can do more with that. But I think let's take a Supta Baddha Konasana. I think we better wrap it up here. Otherwise, we'll be walking around bent over all day. I don't know. I think these poses are so fun. Once you really start to get into them, there's something very playful about arm balances. So let's take a Supta Baddha Konasana, spine on a bolster. So after doing the arm balances, we want to do poses that create length and space in the abdominal area. So the abdominal area can sometimes get a little cramped up with arm balances. Obviously, don't do these if you're menstruating or pregnant. Other poses we could be doing now are like just a simple back bend over the chair. That's nice to do after arm balances. I've even suggested in the past, try Urvadanyarasana. There are other supine poses that can be helpful, other variations of Supta Baddha Konasana, Supta Swastikasana. So, we want to have a nice toolkit for coming out of arm balances, for coming out of back bends. Let your abdomen soften. Right shoulder to the right, left shoulder to the left. Okay, and then use the hands as support to come up. We'll take just a mild Setu Bandha now, using the bolster. So you can take the bolster, throw a blanket on top of it, have that underneath the sacrum. If you have a very hard floor, you may want to put a thin blanket underneath your head. And then we'll start with the knees bent, sacrum up on the bolster, palms up, shoulders down. So nice, easy Setu Bandha here to begin with. So, if we were to really build up and work out a nice Setu Bandha, we would want more height behind the thoracic spine, but we're doing this more just as a recovery to let the abdominal area and those front thighs relax. And then extend the legs out one at a time. You may need to scoot send that top buttocks towards the back heels, heels down, and let that frontal hip, frontal abdominal area open out. Outer shoulders down. Out. Now here also, outer thighs up, outer shins up. So, those are actions also for Urvadanyarasana, right? Not just for the arm balances. Smooth, soft breath. Relax your jaw, relax at the root of the tongue. All right, and then bend the knees, slide off towards the head side, and then you can take Shavasana either with the bolster underneath the knees, or you could cross the legs, rest the shins and ankles on the bolster for a Swastikasana Shavasana. So I suggest try both and see what feels better to you, what feels more relieving. Personally, the Swastikasana Shavasana is feeling better to me because my abdominal area was feeling sort of tight, a little bit gripped up after the arm balances. So this is providing me more relief in that way. But See what's right for you. Always, right? And then we are not going to have a formal ending to the class. I actually apologize. I've gone slightly over, but once we get going with arm balances, it's so much fun. I hope you found it fun too. I'm just going to leave you with a little passage here. This is from Pema Chodron, When Things Fall Apart. Generally speaking, we regard discomfort in any form as bad news. But for practitioners or spiritual warriors, people who have a certain hunger to know what is true, feelings like disappointment, embarrassment, irritation, resentment, anger, jealousy, and fear, instead of being bad news, are actually very clear moments that teach us where it is that we're holding back. They teach us to perk up and lean in when we feel we'd rather collapse and back away. They're like messengers that show us with terrifying clarity exactly where we're stuck. This very moment is the perfect teacher, and lucky for us, it's with us wherever we are. All right. Namaste. We'll end there. Have a wonderful day and see you next week.